Good morning.
I was waiting on you, Tom.
Okay.
Here's what just happened for people watching this on the station Facebook page. It's Teleforum. My name is Eddy Crow. Tom Young is my guest, first consultants. I'll get to this in a second. What just happened? Tom decided to start his live show about 30 seconds before us, and he was into it. So just jump back in.
Jump back in.
In.
Hi, folks. I'm Tom Young, and I'm the financial coach.
There's at least one person that was 30 seconds late to your show that's going to appreciate you doing that.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. You know, the idea that I can change people's lives has been my journey, and that is what it's all about. I pray every day that the words that I use have an impact in some way, and the way people think, the way people do things, and I believe it ends in a positive note. As we start every show on my podcast or here, we start with a prayer. We pray for everybody in the world. This Chinese virus from Wuhan lab has touched every life in the world, from the depths of the Amazon jungle to the Sahara Desert to Siberia and Russia. Everybody has been affected by this virus going around the world, and now we've got Ukraine and Russia, beating each other up over there over whatever, I don't know. And I don't want to know in my head, but we pray every day for people, especially those who have lost loved ones through all of this process. The loved ones who have been lost, we pray that the Lord would gather them into his arms and take them to kingdom of heaven above. In Jesus' name, we pray every day. I start every day, and I always ask people on my show, I says, did you write down 3 things this morning? Here's one of my challenges. I always tell people, did you write down 3 things today that you're grateful for in your life?
That's a really good idea.
A way in life, because we have to be positive. So how do I start my day positive? I have my own little regiment that I do in the morning. My self-talk and the things that I do. But it's so important to start the day at the top, as high as you can be in a positive attitude. And one of the ways to get that started is having an attitude of gratitude, Eddie. Being thankful for something in the morning. Sit down, write down 3 things you're grateful for, whether it's your grandchildren, your spouse. My wife been with me 53 years. Whatever it is, start every day with an attitude of gratitude.
When you do your list, is it the same stuff rotating, or do you make a conscious effort to look for new things?
It's easy to have a big list.
Right.
Because...
Well, I disagree with that. I think there are people that would disagree with you. If you stopped somebody on the street and said, make a big list of things that you're grateful for, I think there are some people that would struggle with that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. Yeah. There's no question about that. I look at myself, the financial coach, I'm the thinking coach, the retirement coach.
Right.
And what I do is I build frameworks for people and teach people how to build frameworks. And frameworks are like building a house.
Yeah.
And if you relate that framework and building a house to life, you dig a hole and foundation. So that could be the conception and the birth and the beginning of life.
All right.
Foundation. So in the foundation, what do? We learn all of the beginnings. How to talk, how to walk, how to run, and we go through school. You get the basement all done and in place and backfilled, and you start to build the frame, on top of it. So that's like 20 to 40, you're building.
That's when you kind of got it going on, kind of.
Right, and I think for the most part, whether people admit it or not, they're searching. They're searching for that who they are. And that's sort of the theme of the show today.
I think that's absolutely true.
And we're going to bounce around on a lot of different things I brought with me today. But it's really about know thyself. To thine own self be true. Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And I have an advanced certificate ×3 in personalities, DISC. And when I went through that, I really started to understand me. And how I think. We have all said something and say, did I really say that? Or we do something and we step out of ourselves and say, was that me? Did I really do that? And good, bad, or indifferent, we live our lives that way, and it's part of the growth. And growth in life is not optional. You either decide to grow you in an ability to attain dreams and goals and things in life you want, or if you don't approach it that way, then the world will grow you into what they want you to be. They will use you up and throw you away in old age.
I would think of it as you can be the person to mold who you are, or the world will be what molds you. Does that make sense? Okay.
Absolutely.
Right.
And right now, we're on the first floor of the building. So the second floor of the building is where now from 40 to 60. So you're starting to hopefully understand and start thinking long term. Nelson Nash wrote the book Infinite Banking Concept. I have it here with me. And Nelson always taught me you got to think long term. And I think that's a hard thing for people to do, is to think long term, because we live in today. Most people live in today.
Immediate gratification.
Right. And what we live in a society of instant everything with the computer.
Yeah.
So that's the way we expect it to be in going forward. So this second story of our house is and that's usually our private area, the master bedroom. And so we start getting real distinct at what we're doing.
We create how we want our space.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Because first floor is public space.
Yeah.
Second floor is bedrooms, master bedroom, so it becomes private space. So we pay more attention to it, and we should do that in our 40s and 50s. And then the roof comes. The roof is the end. Now, the roof is the retirement level. And why I say that, because typically you get a new roof on a house. How many years does it last, Eddie? 25 to 30 years.
Hopefully, yeah.
That's the average. So if you're 60, what is life expectancy? 25 to 30 years on average. And I always tell people, really don't get caught up in that, because life expectancy is right now, if you're 60-something, your life expectancy for a male is like age 84.
Okay.
And for a female, it's like age 86. Now, does that mean they're all dead at age 84, Eddie?
No.
No. It's the top of the bell curve.
It's the
In
average.
other words, half have died,
Yeah.
but half are still alive. I went through a coaching program several years ago, and went for 5-6 years with a guy named Dan Sullivan Coaching in Chicago. And I went 4 times a year. Now, I remember the very first workshop. You're there all day. So the very first workshop we did was thinking about, and the question was, how long do you think you're going to live? And so
that's a heavy question to start a workshop morning with, man.
It is. And there's a point to it, but how long are you going to live? And most people, the answer is 85,
90, yeah. Dare to dream.
And then, the next question is, are you fairly healthy today? Mm-hmm. Well, yes. Well, if you're fairly healthy, why would that make you think that you're average? So if you're healthy today, wouldn't that mean you might be on the other side of the bell curve of those living beyond life expectancy?
You've made it this far being healthy. Yeah, you would expect to be on the good side.
Absolutely. So, when you look around yourself at friends and acquaintances and relatives that are in their 60s and 70s that are dying, and I had a client just passed away last week, and so you look at that, and they already got a lot of health issues going on.
Right.
Which means during the first floor and the second floor,
not as
they
stable.
Maybe didn't take care of themselves.
Right.
Because we are the product of ourselves. And that leads me to the financial things today that we talk about. Now, there's something that we have to be aware of is I brought the debt clock numbers with me today. But we have to be aware of 3 things in America. Number one, we have a declining workforce. Now, what do I mean by we've talked about that.
Aging or declining, or one because of the other?
Declining workforce. There are fewer people working today than there was in 2000. In 2000, there was 159 million workers in America that would be considered a worker employee. Okay?
About half of the people
Right.
here, roughly.
Population was $280 million in 2000.
Okay.
Today we're in excess of 330 million people,
Right.
and now the workforce is only 158 million. So we talk about the 30.592 trillion of debt. Here it is,
Is that what it is?
30.589, 30.58. Last month it was 5.2.
Yeah.
So we've picked up $60 billion in debt in 1 month.
That's a lot of ordering out.
How much is a billion, Eddie?
1,000 million.
1,000 million. Okay,
Yeah.
how much is a trillion?
1,000 billion.
Okay, so when I look at these numbers and I'm thinking about the future and me, so the declining workforce. So we got $30 trillion of debt, and the unfunded liability, which is Social Security, Medicare Part A, B, and D, and pensions for government and military.
Right.
$170 trillion. So that's $200 trillion. It's $1.5 million per taxpayer. But beside the point, we have a declining workforce, so there are fewer people paying in. We got 50 million more people in America, and less people working comparatively and paying into the system to help pay for this stuff in what's going on. The second thing is we have an aging population. You know, that brings me to the discussion about Social Security. Well, you have to go back. Where did Social Security, the concept, originate from? And it was a guy named Bismarck in Germany in 1891, in Germany, and he believed that a German worker reaching age 65 should be able to retire and receive some kind of government stipends to survive on.
Some pension.
Right, some kind of pension, but life expectancy was 49 years old.
Oh, that's great. So if you survive 16 years past the average, we'll give you a little money.
Absolutely.
That's an easy payoff.
So now we come to the 1930s, the 29 crash of the stock market and everything that went on there. And then Roosevelt, his dilemma wasn't about retirement. His dilemma was about jobs for young people. That was what was going on. So they connived the plan of Social Security, which was the beginning of the pyramid scheme that it is today, that people age 65 would get some kind of government stipends. Life expectancy in 1933 was age 59.
Well, all right, I got a little bit better shot than the German guy.
I got a better shot. So here we are today. Social Security system in a few years is going to go bust. There will be no reserves left, and they will be running simply on what they collect, and that they say that's a 25% average reduction in benefits for everybody across the board. So you get 25% less based on
what it is
remember
now.
Declining population,
right?
Fewer people paying in,
more people taking out.
Everybody paying into the Social Security system would only generate 75% of the benefits that are being paid today.
All right, Tom Young is my guest.
So we're gonna take a break.
I don't need to do this. You do this. Tom Young.
You do it, Eddie.
No, Tom Young. It's Teleforum. Tom comes by once or twice a month, and it's always interesting to me. This is being live Facebook fed on our Facebook, Beaver County Radio. Tom's live Facebook feeding this on his. What are you known as on Facebook?
It's Tom Young. You know, you can find me, Tom Young.
Simple.
The Family Money Farm Group, because when we're done here, it'll be posted over there. You want to join the Family Money Farm Group? I post there 3 days a week in what we're doing. But we're gonna take a break.
We're gonna take care of news, and I've got more questions. Is the Bismarck guy? Is he the one they named the boat after?
Have no idea, Eddie. It was we have no idea. All I know is in the book it said his name was Bismarck, and he was an economist in Germany in 1890.
It's Teleforum on Beaver County Radio.
1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM and 95.7 FM, along with Huntington Bank, are pleased to air a series of shows entitled The Huntington Business Spotlight, shining the light on local businesses making a difference in our community. Tune in this Thursday, July the 21st from 9:10 a.m. until 10 a.m. with special guest Carolyn Reese from the John S. Dunn Agency, putting the spotlight on local business. It's the Huntington Business Spotlight, Thursday, July 21st at 9:10 a.m. right here on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM and 95.7 FM.
If you're looking for your next new or used vehicle, I've got great news. There is no shortage. No shortage of cash, that is. Hi, this is Cindy Hilario from Friendly Federal Credit Union in Aliquippa. I know. Dealer inventories are a little low right now, but the cash to buy those cars is bursting at the seams. That's why buying a vehicle and financing it at Friendly Federal Credit Union right now makes a lot of sense. If you have to, go buy a car from your neighbor, the corner lot, or even the internet. Here's the deal. You find the wills, and Friendly will give you a great deal on the loan. 60-month used car loans are now available from just 3.25% with approved credit based on model year. New car loans at even lower rates are also available. Visit Friendly Federal Credit Union, where there's never a shortage of ways to help you. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Friendly Federal Credit Union. You got a friend.
You know, I've heard people refer to older veteran athletes as being all washed up. Well, quite frankly, that's a rather nice compliment if you ask me. This is the Aquaman of Beaver County, Jim Riggio from the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority. When you hear something like that, you have to consider the source of the water, that is. After all, getting washed up with Beaver Falls Municipal Authority water can't be a bad thing. That's because for over 80 years, we've made it possible for everyone to feel washed up, even if they are not star athletes. Click bfwater.net.
It's time to step up to the plate and move forward with your summer plans. This is Andy Dangle from Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Don't let high gas prices, travel problems, and other things get in the way of achieving your dreams this summer. Interest rates might be going up elsewhere, but at Freedom United Federal Credit Union, home equity loans are available from 3.5% with approved credit. Sounds to me like your home is going to help you get back in the game this year. Oh, that reminds me. Speaking of home games, Freedom United Federal Credit Union wants to send you to a Pirates home game this year and will give away a 4-pack of tickets to several remaining games. Visit the office and register for free today. No purchase necessary. It's time to help the home team swing for the fence. And maybe for you to put up a new fence in your backyard or whatever else you need. Freedom United will help you either way. Equal Housing Lender, member NCUA.
You know, I've heard people refer to older veteran athletes as being all washed up. Well, quite frankly,
they may have renamed the stadium in town, but one thing that remains the same is the name of your favorite car dealer, Falcone's Moon Township Ford. For decades, Falcone's Moon Township Ford has been a name people have come to recognize for outstanding selection and great deals on new Fords and high-quality used cars. Fact is, Falcone's Moon Township Ford feels so strongly about the value of a name that sometimes they'll even let you name your price, and that goes no matter what you're doing. Whether you're buying your next vehicle, trading in, or cashing out and selling your car to them, oftentimes you name it, and Falcone's will do it. So you see, there is a lot to be said for respecting the name. Why worry about the new name of the football field when you can name it and claim it right now at Falcone's Moon Township Ford? Click moontownshipford.net.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Frank Sparks.
And good morning, as today's forecast is calling for sunny skies today. Going to be hazy, hot, and humid. High's going to be up to 88 degrees. We'll have a complete Beaver County Radio with a forecast coming up for you right after we have this look at news. Beaver County's newest school has a school building for which to house the students in September. AM Beaver County's Matt Durzik has more from Midland.
Yesterday, members of the Midland Innovation and Technology Charter School got to show off the newest facility for education in Midland, which will begin operations on September 6th. MITCS spokesperson Chris Shovlin said that this school is not what some people think it may be.
A lot of people are calling this a vo-tech school. It is not. I like to call it a high-tech school, which it will be. And more aptly titled, it is a career tech school, because we're going to get kids to be job ready and ready to take the next step in education.
For more on yesterday's event, check out the story at beavercountyradio.com. From Midland, I'm Matt Durzik for Beaver County Radio News.
With the shortage of teachers in Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Department of Education released the Pennsylvania Educator Workforce Strategy yesterday. Acting Secretary of Education Eric Haggerty discussed the reason for this need.
Over the last decade, we've seen a dramatic decrease in people entering the field of education. 10 years ago, roughly 20,000 new teachers were entering our classrooms each year, but last year there were only around 6,000 who did so. To make matters worse, the rate of teachers leaving the field is also accelerating.
The 2022 through 2025 PDE strategic plan to recruit and retain more educators across the Commonwealth was developed after conducting extensive feedback sessions with vested partners across Pennsylvania and contains 50 steps that the Pennsylvania Department of Education and its partners will use to address the Commonwealth's educator shortage. That audio was courtesy of Commonwealth Media Services. Authorities have announced and arrested a man in the stabbing death of a 19-year-old woman in Pennsylvania almost a half a century ago, crediting advances in DNA technology and genetic genealogical research. Lancaster County prosecutors and Manor Township police said on Monday the criminal homicide charge had been filed against 68-year-old David Sinopoli in the December 1975 murder of Lindy Sue Betchler. District Attorney Heather Adams said the case was solved with DNA, and specifically DNA genealogy. And quite honestly, without that, I don't know that we would have ever solved it, she said. He was arrested Sunday, and he is being held without bail. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the government's top infectious disease expert, says he plans to retire by the end of President Joe Biden's term in January of 2025. Fauci, who's 81 years old, became director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease back in 1984 and has advised 7 presidents. Fauci said on CNN yesterday that he doesn't have a specific retirement date in mind and hasn't started the process. Fauci was thrust into the national spotlight as the height of the coronavirus pandemic under then-President Donald Trump, who suggested the pandemic would fade away, promoted unproven treatment methods, and vilified scientists who countered him. The AP has a little bit of advice when inflation has you on a tight budget. Lots of people think that a credit card may seem like an easy option to stay afloat. Without a plan in place to pay it off, though, you could be at risk for credit card mistakes that lead to amount of debt. If you're in a bind, avoid spending the same, increasing reliance on credit cards, carrying a balance on high-interest credit cards, paying late fees, or taking out a cash advance. If possible, instead explore some less expensive alternatives that can lessen the blow to your finances. The UK Weather Office says that Britain has shattered its record for highest temperature ever registered with a provisional reading of 39.1 degrees Celsius in Sherwood, England. That's about 102.3 degrees in Fahrenheit. The highest temperature previously recorded in Britain was 38.7 degrees Celsius, a record that was set in 2019. The high today came as the country sweltered in heat wave that also scorched mainland Europe for the past week. Travel, healthcare, and schools were disrupted in a country not prepared for such extremes. Parts of England are under a red alert, a warning for extreme heat that poses a risk of serious illness and even death among healthy people.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Sunny skies today with a high of 88 degrees, then mostly clear overnight tonight with a low of 68. Sunny and hot tomorrow, high up to 90. Our next chance for rain is tomorrow night. Showers are likely with a possible thunderstorm overnight while we're sleeping. Low is going to be down to 70 degrees. Then on Thursday, a slight chance of morning showers and thunderstorms. Otherwise, it's going to be sunny with a high of 87. Bring back the heat on Friday, sunny and hot, humid, high of 90. Same on Saturday, mostly sunny, hazy, hot, and humid with a high of 90. And then we'll have rain showers and thunderstorms on Sunday with a high of 86 degrees. Our newscast this hour is being brought to you by MRS Physical Therapy with 2 locations. One, Stowe Point Landing in Bridgewater. The other, Cranberry Physical Therapy on Route 19 in Cranberry. If you'd like more information about MRS Physical Therapy, you can find them online at mrsphysicaltherapy.com. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Frank Sparks, Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and beavercountyradio.com, all brought to you by St. Barnabas.
You don't have to have had an accident, suffered a sports injury, or undergone surgery to take advantage of the benefits of physical therapy from Dale Reckless at MRS Physical Therapy. At a recent live broadcast at MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater, Dale Reckless talked about treatment for the common foot pain condition, plantar fasciitis.
Plantar fasciitis is a pretty common thing, and I tell my patients, don't wait to come and get some treatment for it. The longer you wait, the more chronic it becomes. We'll still fix it, but it'll just take longer. If you come to see me when you're first getting the symptoms, then I can take care of it a lot quicker. What I do with plantar fasciitis is we give some stretches to do. I do a lot of hands-on exercise, and then I also do an evaluation of how they walk and how they stand. They need the hands-on work that I do to help cure the plantar fasciitis.
If you need physical therapy for any reason, choose the place that your friends and neighbors do. MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater and Cranberry Physical Therapy in Cranberry. Visit mrsphysicaltherapy.com.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
It is 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA and 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, and 95.7 FM. And this is being live streamed on Beaver County Radio's Facebook. It's also being live streamed on Tom Young's Facebook. Tom Young is my guest. Yeah, that covered everything. You want to get back to what we were talking about?
Yeah,
because
we
it
were
sounds
talking,
like we're going broke as a country.
We were talking about, number one, declining workforce. We talked about that.
Fewer people.
We have 50 million people, but less people working, paying into the system.
Mm-hmm.
We have an aging population. People are living longer.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is a problem. And then the third one is really everybody's problem. People's inability to save.
Oh, absolutely.
To save a proper amount of money. And 47% of the population pay no federal income tax. So that means they are below the level of income that would require them to pay income tax. So, the
47%.
47% pay no federal income tax. So it's interesting when we think about the $30+ trillion of debt,
Mm-hmm.
$170 trillion of unfunded liability. Where did that come from? I want to get into the 6 inches, this stuff between the ears,
Mm-hmm.
and the thinking muscle, as I refer to it.
Right.
And how did we get here? Well, we have the greatest system in the world. Don't get me wrong, people. I'm not knocking our freedoms or our system, our political system. But it has been out of balance for a long time.
The best system can still have problems.
Absolutely. And $170 trillion of unfunded liability is basic. The promises made by politicians to encourage you to vote for them because, we're going to give you this in the future.
Right.
And all they were really doing was redistributing our money.
Yeah.
Back to us, and that's really all it is. It's a redistribution. They have to take it from us because the politicians don't create anything. So they have to take it from us, and then they give it back. And that makes them look like a hero.
With a surcharge attached. We don't get back as much as they take.
No.
Yeah, there's a process and handling fee with that.
There surely is. And their ability to create programs and give money away unthinkingly and without credibility, and we have no way to hold them accountable other than what's coming in November. November is accountability time. And I promote this on every program that I'm on, that we need to look at everybody that's running for re-election. Re-election, I said, so that means they've been there a while. And if they have not made a significant difference or don't stand up for what's right, stop spending the money, then they need to go. And if you can't see that, I will pray for you, and I pray for those people every day that don't understand the mess that we are in. And there is an end to where we're at, and it's scary. Did you see Sri Lanka last week?
Here's what I saw. I saw the president tried to leave the country. They wouldn't let him leave. He tried again. He got out. As he was leaving the country, he said, hey, prime minister's in charge, and all the Sri Lankan people were swimming in the president's pool.
In the president's pool.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You look up and you're like, what are those guys doing? Oh, they took over the presidential palace. That's what they're doing. That's what that is. Yes.
That was a revolution, wasn't it, Eddie?
But it's a soft revolution. They didn't blow up the president's palace. They just used the pool.
Well, we need to have a revolution in America. And God forbid, I don't want to see a gun-toting, gun-shooting revolution. I want to see a voter revolution at the ballot boxes. And we need to get awakened. And the current guy in Washington right now, I don't want to continue on the plane that we're on because it almost appears that it is purposeful destruction of America. They everything they have done to please the progressive left, and I didn't really want to go here, but I'm going to go here and say what I want to say. It's my show. I can do that. I paid for it.
The longer you talk, the less they got to listen to me.
That's exactly right.
They hear me enough.
So we need to stand up and make a difference. And the only way we can hold politicians accountable is vote them out. Mm-hmm. And Republican, Democrat, if you're a rhino or you're a progressive Democrat, they have to go because they do not have the future at heart. There are going to be more wars in the future. I hate to predict that, but there are going to be more wars in the future. I'd hate to be in a tank out on the battlefield and it be an electric tank and the battery went dead. Where do I plug this thing in at so I can continue?
But the beauty of it is, even after the tank dies, it will keep catching on fire so you can stay warm.
Oh yeah, the battery. The batteries.
Yeah.
And on and on and on. But anyway, let's get back to our subject today. This thing that we're involved in, this thing called life every day, living and everything, we have to decide to add some knowledge and understanding that this muscle, this 6 inches between our ears, the greatest real estate in the world, we have to figure out how to make it work better. Because if it is to be, it's up to me. There isn't anything, if you think about that, if you repeat anything often enough and it will start to become you.
That's absolute truth.
The words you constantly select will shape your destiny. Mm-hmm. Thoughts lead to words, lead to beliefs, lead to actions, lead to results. And there was where's my other one at? I have one here. I play golf with guys, and they really, really disturb me. Here it is here. Okay?
It sounds like a problem with the foursome.
And it's happening everywhere because everywhere I go, I hear men, women. There is no longer a lack of wisdom, education. A man who has the habit of abusive language, and I'll paraphrase, man or woman, who has the habit of abusive language will never mature in character as long as he lives. Now, when I hear people go off in a tirade of all of those bleep, bleep words that are there, what's wrong with their intelligence? You can't come up supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I mean, I have all these crazy words. Yeah, I get angry and I throw words out, but I am not gonna
You're
invite
creative
the devil.
about it.
I'm not going to invite Satan into my mind by using his words. That's really what you do. There was a guy at the club that I play golf at. He is a retired school administrator. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
And his language, I mean, he must have studied the high school kids and gathered all of the words that they use because every other word out of his mouth
is
and
one of the George Carlins.
He used words I don't even where he got him at, but man, they were, and I would get in his face and I would say, look, you realize you're growing worms in your brain.
Yeah.
If you look at the brain, it looks like a ball of worms, right? Mm-hmm. The way it looks.
Right.
Well, every time you use one of them words, you bring a worm into your mind and you destroy your own character. And I said to him, I have high esteem for you. Your position, what you did with your life, I honor that. But why do you continuously, every day, destroy your own character and your own image that other people have of you because you're not intelligent enough to control your words? Think about that, folks. I'm sorry, but that's the name of the game. If it's just easy to use those words, it's hard not to use those words because they are so prevalent in our society. You don't use those words on here.
I don't use those words anywhere because
I've never heard you do that. I honor you with that.
I will tell you this. I am capable of it. I can string them together, but I was taught, you hit on it perfectly. I was taught, why would you use that word? There's more creative ways to express your displeasure or your anger or your whatever. Now, I can paint a picture, but no. I like making up words. You make up a word, people half the time assume that it's worse than the one you almost used.
Well,
if I call you a Gazornenplatt, that could mean anything. That's much more fun than calling you, a standard bad thing. It's about creativity. It's exactly what you said. Why grow worms?
Here's a word for you, folks. And my wife's Uncle Hank, Polish guy, Jektom Takalowicz. Now, I have no idea.
Now, wait, is that a word or is that his name?
No, that was just his word. When he was frustrated, it was Jektom Takalowicz. And so that is one of my words.
Okay.
But he would never tell anybody what it meant. And I've talked to people that know Polish, and if you know what the words mean, send me a text. Send me an email. Because I have no clue. Jektom Takalowicz.
So it's something angry and probably a little bit saucy, but you... Now, see, that's great because now that word, it's like the word I just said, Gazornenplatt. In your mind, that word can mean
Gazornenplatt, I can pick that up easy.
Yeah, Gazornenplatt.
Oh, yeah. It's funny. But, when we talk about things in the beginning, how did we come to think the way we do today? The person you are today, you are the result of all of the experiences of your life. From we know that there's a thing... People suggest when you have a baby in the womb, they play classical music and
sensory stimulus.
Yes. And it is already proven through the baby kicking or whatever that it has an impact on that baby in the womb and what's going on. So then we're born, and the first thing we get is smacked in the ass. Excuse me.
Smacking the Gazornenplatt.
Yeah, smacked. And from there on in our life, it's don't do this, don't do that, no. How many times do you think we heard no? How many millions of no's did we hear through our adolescence and growing up? And so we, as an adult, when we get into the first floor of our building, the framing, to the framework of life, we have to start thinking about, okay, I need to overcome some of that programming that I had in my mind. In my book, in the introduction, I wrote about my beginnings. I loved my dad and my mother dearly, but my dad had an 8th grade education. He worked 2 or 3 jobs his entire life, as long as I can remember.
Dad was either going to work or coming back.
Exactly.
Right.
And on when I got old enough, on payday, when he worked in the mill, he'd come home, and my dad was a stickler paying the bills, so he would come home and throw $3 on the table for my mom to go buy groceries with.
That's what's left.
And there would be an argument, and so after a while, I figured I didn't want to be there.
Right.
So I made sure I wasn't there when I knew that event was going to happen. But that was my growing up. So academics and going to college and all that. My dad used to say, we're not the kind of people that go to college. We're not the kind of people that go to college. We don't have the money. We don't have the money to do that, and blah, blah, blah. And so that was never an expectation or an anticipation in my life. And as I got older and I became an adult and I met my wonderful wife, and we eventually got married. And it was a while, I struggled and I started a business, worked on the Conrail, on railroad for a couple of years. And so I've literally been, out of 53 years of marriage, I've been self-employed almost 50 of those years, 49 of those years. So I've made my own way,
right.
In making money and not being an employee. But I have read hundreds and hundreds of books that were self-help books, growth books, promotion books, things that would help me discover me. When you read a self-help book, what is your purpose? Why are you reading this book? And I just got a brand new book by Norman Vincent Peale, who's been dead a long time, so they're rewriting some of his original works. And this is the title of the book is How to Succeed Over the Devil or whatever, and how to beat the devil I think that's the name of the book. It's on my night. I just started reading it. And one of the things he said in there when he started out his life, he had 2 or 3 businesses that didn't work out. He met Andrew Carnegie, and Carnegie and him colluded to write a self-help book, a personal growth book, which today is the premier self-help book, Think and Grow Rich, in all history, that he wrote that book. But he worked for Andrew Carnegie for free. And what he got from Carnegie, I guess Carnegie was a smart guy, didn't pay him to do this, but he convinced him about the long term. In other words, what this information and this research would be worth 20, 30 years from now. Now that took a lot on Napoleon Hill's side to look at that and have a 20, 30 year into the future expectation and stick with it. To become the premier coach, speaker, teaching people how to find success. But one of the key things that he said in the beginnings of this book is he talked to over 500 people that were the most successful people in the world. But he also talked to 2,000 people who would have been considered failures to find out what wouldn't work.
Right.
And we don't think about that. We think of, well, what do I got to do to get ahead?
Right.
But what do I want to avoid doing that will prevent
won't do
me?
that? Right.
Right. And so I'm really into this new book that I'm only like 30 pages into it, and I just started reading it. But that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about ourselves. And it starts with a decision. Are you happy with where you're at and what you're doing in life and what you have? If you are, God bless you. But I don't think people are. I think people, for the most part, are accepting. In other words, they are accepting of their position because they're thinking, well, it's never going to happen for me.
Right. They've come to terms with it because they don't see any other way.
Yeah, they don't see an answer. They don't see a method. This is not get rich quick, folks. This is about one day at a time, reading a paragraph at a time, having a self-talk, for yourself. And I've done mine. I know I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand in myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. I know the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. So I go on. But what is your self-talk? Have you made a conscious decision to chase your dreams? And these are ingredients that will take you down the road to your dreams.
Does everybody have those ingredients?
I believe they do. God didn't create any junk, Eddie. I just don't believe God created any junk. And here's another controlling thing. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your own estimate of it, and you have the power to revoke at any moment those feelings. People get angry. Have you ever been angry at somebody? I think we all have at one time or another, Eddie.
No, not at all, Tom.
and get angry at somebody. But when you get angry at somebody and they go on.
That's exactly right.
And you get eaten up by your own anger.
Your anger has very little effect on them. They go about their life and it festers with you.
Absolutely. Here's another one. Repeat anything often enough and it will start to become you. The words consistently select will shape your destiny. Thoughts lead to words, to beliefs, to actions, to results. I already said that. But that is so critical in planting those seeds. And if you're not reading from books that are recognized as positive self-help books, books that would take you, and there are 3 or 4 of them that I read annually. Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends, Influence People, The Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. Schwartz. These are books that you know, How to Develop the Leader Within by John Maxwell. I think John Maxwell is probably pretty close to the top of the list on books to help you achieve and succeed in life today.
Do you read those over because that's kind of a reset, a reaffirmation?
If you don't have a thought going on in your mind, you are bombarded every day. I read something the other day that we make as a human being on a 24-hour period of time. We make 20, 30,000 decisions in our mind in a day. You know, a decision could be, well, you wear glasses. I used to, but I don't.
Right.
Well, do I need to clean my glasses? I mean, everything that you do is
your brain's telling you, pick up the pen.
It's a decision.
Yes. Okay.
And we do that all day long. And if we don't make the decision to do something for ourselves, then everybody else
They
is
will
telling
make the
us what to
decision
do.
for you. Absolutely. Somebody will help you decide if you won't.
And I see we're running out of time. We're getting, how much time do we got?
Probably about a minute.
1 minute. 1 minute. Let me finish with this.
I love doing shows with Tom. Tom Young is my guest. Wrap her up, boss.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams, wandering by lone sea breakers and sitting by desolate streams, world losers and world forsakers, on whom the pale moon gleams. Yet we are the movers and shakers of the world forever, it seems. Step out. Become who you are destined to be. It takes work, yes, but you can do it. I believe in every one of you. I pray for all of you every day of my life. God bless.
Tom Young of First Consultants. It's Teleforum on Beaver County Radio.
Hey, it's Jimmy Fallon from Fox News, inviting you to tune into Beaver County Radio weekdays from noon to 3 p.m. for Fox Across America with me, Jimmy Fallon. It is the fastest growing radio show in the country, mainly because of my weight. But the point is, you tune into our show, you could be a Republican, you could be a Democrat, just don't be a jerk. Listen live on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WNBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. I'll see you there.